Hi everyone, it's Melinda Jennison from Streamline Property Buyers, and today I've got a market update summarising the very latest data for the Brisbane property market, as well as some of our on-the-ground observations. First of all, a quick market snapshot up to the end of September 2023. We saw listing volumes still down 22.8% based on comparison this year to last year. 65.7% was the auction clearance rate across the month. Buyer activity is still very high, especially for quality properties throughout the city. House values increased 1.4% throughout September, and unit values increased 1.1%, and gross yields for dwellings sitting at 4%. Of course, we're going to get into more specific detail through this presentation today. One thing that I will say is that Brisbane is still comparatively a much more affordable location. Proptrack Housing Affordability Index has completed a survey showing that Queensland property is the second most affordable property market throughout Australia, sitting closely behind Western Australia. And this is potentially what is continuing to drive demand for property here in Brisbane. When we're looking at listing volumes, they continue to be frustratingly low here in Brisbane. So the listing volumes, according to SQM research, between July and August really only declined slightly. In September, we saw a very small uptick, as you can see on this graph. However, it's certainly not enough to satisfy the demand from buyers that are out in the market throughout Brisbane at the moment. Also, sales volumes are still lower than this time last year, sitting at negative 19.4% below this time last year. When we're looking at the auction information for the month, auction clearance rates dropped slightly between August and September. Now, we do need to consider that throughout September there were 2 weeks of school holidays. Now, the number of registered bidders also dipped slightly from 3.8% in August to 3.5% in September, but the percentage of active bidders actually increased or was fairly consistent throughout the 2 months. So multiple offers for private treaty sales still very common, and we are really seeing a lot of fast sales whereby properties are selling after that first open home. You can see here on the left a photo lining up to get through an open home on a Saturday. Days on market, according to CoreLogic, also declining month on month, so it does indicate that the market is strengthening here in Brisbane. Dwelling values for the month of September have increased. So Brisbane dwelling values raised 1.3% according to CoreLogic data, sitting the median at $761,739. So across the quarter, Brisbane dwelling values have increased 3.9%. Last month, this was tracking at 4.2%. So it does indicate that the peak rate of growth in Brisbane may have passed. When we're looking at Proptrack data, also this data shows positive dwelling price growth across September. Proptrack demonstrates 0.39% growth in Brisbane for the month, which is a slight increase from last month's growth for dwellings, which was at 0.27%. Looking at the price segmentation, you'll see the top end of the market still slightly ahead of the middle part of the market and the bottom segment of the market, although you'll note the bottom segment of the market is playing catch up. This is dwelling data. We do know that we're seeing strong growth in the unit and townhouse market, especially in middle and inner ring locations driven by affordability. So this is something we're monitoring month by month to see if these trends do continue. Looking at house values have increased throughout the month of September. CoreLogic data shows 1.4% price growth. When we actually equate the change from last month, it's an increase of $16,433 at the median value level. And when you consider this on a week-by-week basis, it's approximately $4,108 of price growth per week. And that is if you're purchasing a property around the $848,000 mark. So that's very significant growth, and buyers really need to factor this in if they are looking to buy in the current market. House prices have grown 4% across the quarter, according to CoreLogic. This is down slightly from last month, where house value growth was 4.3% across the quarter. So again, it might indicate that the peak rate of growth for houses in Brisbane has also passed, and we'll be watching this for next month's data. PropTrack also shows an increase of 0.33% in Brisbane throughout September. And this is also being reported as a higher rate of growth than last month of 0.27%. So again, some inconsistency between PropTrack and CoreLogic. PropTrack indicating that the rate of growth is still increasing, and CoreLogic indicating the exact opposite. Unit values, according to CoreLogic, have increased 1.1% across the month of September. Quarterly growth sitting at 3.7%, which is slightly lower than last month where quarterly growth was 3.8%. The median value of a unit in Greater Brisbane now sitting at $539,169, and the rate of growth showing an increase per month of $13,010. And if we calculate that on a weekly basis, approximately $3,250 of price growth per week if you're looking at a unit around that $539,000 mark. So again, very difficult to save that sort of money using post-tax income. Being in the market, there is an opportunity cost of delay. PropTrack data, if we're looking at the PropTrack unit price growth, that is showing an increase of 0.76% throughout the month of September, and this is a stronger result than August, where growth was reported at 0.32%. So again, PropTrack data showing the magnitude of growth increasing, CoreLogic showing that we may have passed the peak. So we'll be reporting on this next month to see if the data sets align at that time. Looking at the price growth over the last couple of years since 2020, you can see the huge boom in both housing and unit markets throughout the post-COVID boom. Obviously, median values came off predominantly throughout the latter months of 2022, and we've had consistent price growth across both sectors of the market since March this year. And CoreLogic are now predicting the new peak of the market will hit sometime throughout October. In the rental market, vacancy rates in Brisbane do remain consistently low. They dropped again, according to SQM research, from 1% in July to 0.9% in August. Most regions of the city are showing very tight vacancy at the moment. What I will say is that rents are increasing still. House rents, 6.4% increase over the last 12 months, whereas the rate of this price growth is slowing. For example, 6 months ago, at the end of March 2023, the annual rent price growth for houses in Brisbane was 11.2%. So we've certainly passed the peak rate of growth. The slowdown is likely due to affordability in many areas, even despite the low vacancy rate. When we're looking at unit rents, up 14% in Brisbane over the last 12 months, according to CoreLogic. Again, 6 months ago, this was tracking at 16.1%. So whilst the rate of growth has slowed slightly, units are still actually outperforming houses when it comes to the rental income price growth across the city. Just in summary, Brisbane is the second fastest growing capital city market, just behind Adelaide, which took over from Brisbane just in the last month across September. So very strong growth being shown throughout Brisbane and the Greater Brisbane region. Of course, when we look at local dynamics, there's markets within markets, and it's important to understand what is happening at a local level, at a suburb level, more so than what is happening citywide. Listing volumes are still very low in Brisbane, although we saw a slight uptick throughout September, and we are having conversations with agents indicating that there is more stock coming to the market throughout October. Quality is the biggest issue. We are still struggling to find quality stock, and there's a lot of B and C grade stock coming to the market. Still, there's no evidence of forced selling throughout Brisbane. There may be the occasional seller that needs to sell because of higher interest rates or higher inflationary pressure, but we are certainly not seeing this en masse. The rate of price growth appears to be past its peak now in Brisbane, as evidenced by CoreLogic data presented today. Although, as I mentioned previously, that PropTrack data is showing the opposite effect, so we'll be continuing to monitor this in the months ahead. There's still more buyers than sellers. You can see on the left-hand side another lineup there for a property just to get in to inspect. In fact, that photo was taken on the day of the AFL Grand Final at 2:15, which was about 15 minutes before the Brisbane Lions kicked off. So, you know, there's some motivated buyers right there. Instead of being at home watching the AFL Grand Final, they were lining up to inspect that particular property. As I've mentioned previously, there's still markets within markets and different locations throughout Brisbane and different product types throughout different locations are certainly performing in different ways. And if you'd like to understand what is happening at a local level, you're welcome to partner with professionals like us here at Streamline Property Buyers. So you're welcome to connect with us. Take the time to scan this code. This will bring up some options for getting in touch. There's also a lot of free resources that we provide to buyers, whether you're interested in partnering with professional buyers agents or not. There's certainly some resources that will be of benefit to you. I hope that's been a useful presentation. I look forward to speaking with you again next month. Thank you so much. Bye for now.